Paradise Again by Swedish House Mafia. It is 11 songs, an hour and 2 minutes long, and kind of, there's a speculation that LCD Sound System, more on that later, that Swedish House Mafia was going to release some new music at some point very recently. They just had a headlining return at Coachella that they, was a long time coming. There was one of their first major shows in a while. They did that with The Weeknd all of a sudden because Ye dropped out, and then they're going to be on Sunday, then Ye came into the Coachella, and so they were going to be this other thing, and then Ye came out of Coachella, and so they did this thing with The Weeknd, and The Weeknd almost lost a lot of money. It's a story. But the point is, Swedish House Mafia returned before Coachella Weekend 1. They dropped this record, which is, strangely enough, their first album, even though they've been around for a long time. I think basically this works as one of those things in EDM where you release mixes most of the time. And so when you have that under your discography, it's a little bit different than having a real, set of albums specifically like a lot of artists do. But here you have 17 songs of one of the best electronic albums I've heard in a very long time.
Yep. Agreed. I was kind of skeptical going into it. I do like Swedish House Mafia. I like the tracks that they've put out with The Weeknd. Their records and stuff, and that they put out 10 years ago now, which is insane to think about that was already a decade ago. And their singles I've liked, but I'm still, just because of the history that we've had with EDM the past few years of Audioface, when I'm like, I don't know, my standards are so high, I don't know what I'm gonna get. And the first track of Time featuring Mafia is fan-fucking-tastic. It reminds me actually a lot of one of my favorite EDM artists, of Kolsch. It reminds me a lot of his production and his sound, but Swedish House Mafia kind of puts their own kind of theme and their own style of doing that kind of trance meets house style of EDM that I like a lot, but I don't think too many artists do, and this is a perfect kind of blend of that, mixed with stuff that you could easily put in club banners, you could easily put on the radio, you could do a lot of stuff with it, and it is a fantastic record. I like it a lot. Starts off great. Yep, again, Time, very good opening track. You have Heaven Takes You Home, Jacob's Note, also great. The one thing I do want to say before I get to Moth to a Flame with Weeknd is something that the features all in here, all of the vocals and whatnot are great. None of them are cliche at all, which we get a lot in EDM, where they have insert female vocal voice here, blah, 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 drop, blah, crowd goes crazy, right? Rinse, repeat for the past decade or so. None of them do that to a point where it gets annoying at all. You have it here or there just because it's the nature of the game. And, they try to do that for, Heaven Takes You Home. You can get a little sense of that a little bit here or there, but nothing crazy. But the thing is that they all go well together, and each of the vocals sampled and whatnot on all the tracks, they go well. They go along with each other, which is nice because sometimes one might stand out more than the other. One might just be like, oh, this is like the hit that they want to have or whatnot. No, they're all of them are purposely driven for the record, and it all is concise and cohesive into the project, which is honestly hard to do for a group as big as Swedish House Mafia and within the nature of EDM. There's very, very few artists that can do that. And again, with an album that has 17 songs, an hour and 2 minutes long, you could easily have it where it just overwhelms you, but it doesn't at all for this record, which is impressive to say the least.
Electronic, even at its best, is going to be a very repetitive genre. And
it is.
In 2022, an hour and 2 minutes long of an album, 17 songs long of an album. It's not like it's a statistical thing on Audioface, of course, but that's pretty much lining up for me to say it's overstaying its welcome. It's just hard because so many albums get so much done in 35 minutes or less, or about that sweet spot of now 43, 44 minutes in a time where everything's vying for our attention, other forms of media like TV shows and news and sports and everything else. The decaying of our global empire. It's important to, not overstay your welcome, and this album definitely does not.
No.
Now that we can't.
A perfect hour and 2 minutes long. It is. Yes. Yeah, it's that example. You get to Moth to a Flame with The Weeknd, which.
Yes.
Goddamn, Abel, first off, is really becoming one of my favorite artists now, which is insane because I was a hater in the early 2010s.
I
Um,
encourage a lot of people who are haters because, like, we were not the only haters out there originally, but we pay such close attention to music that we were able to pretty much pinpoint around the time when we were able to see. We personally were able to see The Weeknd transcend from the things we didn't like about him to growing into a better artist.
like
Other,
around Starboy era to me was when
yeah,
it was starting to get there, and now the past two records, and now with all the features he does, even with like the Latin features and things he's done now, it's great. And Moth to a Flame is such a good dance track. It is like a perfect mixture of dance with pop and everything that you want. A club banger. You could play this at so many different events, not just like a club. You could play at stadiums. You could play at different games like hockey games, football games, so on and so forth. It's such a good track with it. But the other thing that I want to give Swedish House Mafia props to, even though that's like the headline track of this album, I would say it doesn't outshine anything at all. Because you have Mafia right after, which is also a good track by itself because it's nice how it breaks it up that little bit because it's non-vocals and it kind of goes into this almost like garage meets dubstep style stuff, which it really connects the features well together. But Moth to a Flame doesn't like outshine the rest of the record at all, which is
yeah.
hard to do with the EDM record. But
Getting
yeah,
through the rest of the record, like Mafia, takes it slower down and does, almost quite that dubstep thing. Frankenstein with A$AP Rocky is definitely the most experimental of tracks on
yes,
here. There's similarly to Frankenstein itself, there's a bunch of different mixes and beats thrown throughout the entire thing.
I love
It
how
changes pace, it
Frankenstein,
moves throughout
'cause,
pace. Yeah,
yeah, you just throw shit together and be like, see what happens, and I applaud them for that.
yeah.
It's a track that I don't know if I like or not yet.
I agree. I don't necessarily
so
like it all
out
that
there,
much, but
but
it's
I
real.
love that they did that.
Yeah, I don't necessarily like it all that much, even on second listen per se, but I appreciate that it's there. And I like where it is in the album because if you didn't have Mafia Frankenstein before Don't Go Mad, which breaks things down into a more kind of international flair house beat into it, then you would. I don't like the transition of Moth to a Flame to Don't Go Mad. I wouldn't have felt like where I usually do that incision of this is where the album's too long. No, this is what is needed in the album. And another big like praise to them is in an electronic album you kind of there's so few of them, and I think it's tempting to say we judge electronic albums differently, but I think we have the same values in judging and reviewing those albums as we do any other genre of album, but it just plays out in a different way. So like when I say in any normal review I want an album to have a purposeful beginning, middle, and end and play all the way through, what I mean in electronic music is I want it to sound like a mix. And this sounds like a mix. This is like this sounds like something you would like press play out at a club and it would just work start to finish because it does all the things a DJ needs to do to manage a club's atmosphere and energy. You have your fast songs, you have your slow songs, you have your kind of lovey songs, your dancey songs, your hype songs. Everything works together start to finish. You don't have to insert something into a playlist. You don't have to do anything. But if you are a DJ, it's a nice template for you to mix things up and change it up and go around, which is why I'm at least the time recording this, it's before me going to Coachella and seeing the Swedish House Mafia show live. I'm very excited to see how they recreate this live.
Yes, I'm excited for you to see it too. I'm gonna live vicariously through you for that. The thing that really impresses me with this record, though, isn't just the top half; it's the bottom half of the record. They put all of their features on the first 9 tracks, right? All of like your The Weeknd, A$AP Rocky, Ty Dolla $ign, so on and so forth. Everybody on there, great, right? It's all the features are great. They're concise. They get to the point. But the thing that really impressed me was once you got to the 11th track, Home. Home onwards for me, even though Calling On's a good track, but for me, Home is where it really starts. That's where, as Dan was saying, you get that mix feeling, and it feels like you have a first half of a mix and a second half of a mix. If you guys ever go to like house shows or whatnot, that happens a lot with really good DJs. They'll kind of like mix it up and change it up so that way you don't have an hour of just one kind of theme. A lot of guys will do a quarter mix, half and half, or so on. And this is to me where it feels like it goes straight through into it. And
you have variety of pacing.
Yes, and you get so many different tracks in here. You have Home, It Gets Better, Red Light. All 3 of those are totally different. totally different bases, totally different styles of EDM, but they all still go together, which again is very difficult to do. And the thing what I love about it is, again, it sounds like a mix. It sounds like I can just play this straight through and just get on with it. So it's a fantastic record. I really like this record a lot.
Yeah, I was very pleased with it. I also shout out to the Ty Dolla Sign with um 070 Shake, who I've liked on this podcast a lot and shouted out for their early album. I've
Yeah.
said they sounded like a little Weekend-esque, but like not in a bad way, definitely in a good way. And getting to hear 070 Shake and the Weekend on Swedish House Mafia tracks that are a little bit different but a little bit similar, they both deserve to be exactly where they are. They both fit perfectly on those tracks. And Ty Dolla Sign compliments it as well. Again, shout out to an EDM artist who incorporates rappers who don't suck on their own and rappers who can handle the versatility of being on an electronic beat
Yes.
and like bring their A game and don't suck during it. Like
Yes.
everything comes together. And for the electronic artists, they don't like they work it for rap, but they don't bend it so much that it just becomes bland and generic.
It just becomes another trap song or something like that, which a lot of big time artists will do. No, that's the thing. Again, every track in here has a purpose. Every track goes together the way it pops through the record. I need to take time. Granted, so for everybody listening out there, we're recording this on a Saturday because it's God's Day tomorrow. So I'm not gonna be able to record. So we only got like a day and a half to listen to everything. Normally we have an extra day or so to get 2-3 listens on. Sometimes I'll get my shuffle listen. I wanted to shuffle listen to this, but I just haven't had time. So it'll be interesting to hear it again. In a couple of days, and I do shuffle listen and see how well it still sounds when you have all of them just scrambled together. And if it still sounds like a mix, still sounds good, then it's going to be one of my favorite records of this year. I'm very, very impressed with this. It's a long time coming from Swedish House Mafia, a decade or so since their last record, which should be Until Now. Yeah.
Well, not even like last record, but like this is their first proper album, so to speak, right?
First proper album?
A real album.
I guess so, yeah. Because the other ones have been kind of thrown together singles and everything, yeah.
Yes,
Fair play.
Swedish, like Until Now is sort of like a compilation of the singles they had released because,
That's true,
like
yeah.
a lot of EDM, it is a mix. Like DJs just release things as they're working on them,
That's
and
true.
really
Yep.
albums never work out. So for EDM, this is a great album. For Swedish House Mafia, this is a phenomenal first album showing to put it all together as an idea and to show what an album really means. For music in general, this is a great album. This is really barely any flaws I've got to say with this.
Yeah, neither to me, and I'm glad because EDM needs this. We need this in electronic and electronic pop music for sure.
We said it in our State of 2022
Yep.
music conversation that folks can check out on YouTube and podcast apps, etc. That this is what EDM kind of needs, like a full album
Yes.
that resets and shows what you can do with house music and other genres, blending things in together to make it fresh and new for a brand new generation. In addition to all the other things that are flourishing in the underground, like the techno scene that's happening as well, just make EDM great again.
Yeah, I 100% agree. All right, ratings.
Arbitrary
rating
scale this
agencies.
week. We do arbitrary scales this week because our review is our review, and what we said in it is, I think, pretty clear. This episode, we're going to do different earlier years of Coachella as our rating system. So the better the year of Coachella compared to all the other ones, the better the album. I'm going to give this... I know what you might give this, so I'm going to give this my 2010.
2010?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2010 goes hard. You got Muse, Gorillaz, Faith No More, LCD Sound System, Tom York?
Major
maybe?
Lazer before they were really generic and bad and still had some cool ideas.
Phoenix.
LCD
that's
Sound
prime
System at their
too.
prime. Passion Pit at their prime. Deadmau5.
Mouse. Oh, 2010 Dead Mouse. Damn, that's a good Dead Mouse to get.
Yeah.
Like it.
What are you putting?
Fuck, this is hard. There's two. There's two, but
I left 2004 open for you.
yeah, this is my 04. This is my 04. The
Yeah.
Cure, Flaming Lips, Air, which is one of my favorites.
Radiohead.
Pixies, Kraftwerk, and of course, Radiohead. More on that later.
And Kinky. And Black Keys.
And just so much shit. I can just keep going on and on.
In no order in particular.
No, of course not. Also, LCD sound system too.
Yeah, like very, very low on their LCD sound system. The Losing My Edge LCD sound system.
Do.
Help grow Audioface by liking this video, sharing this video, doing all of those things. Help, engage with the video so more people see it. Like the Motomami video is a great example. Give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, any podcast app you use. Hit follow, just do whatever there. That helps us boost in whatever algorithmic thing podcasts get discovered in, and really helps us out a lot. The upcoming Power Report episode is one I've been coming on for a while and wanting to do. It's basically why legalizing weed was a mistake and why that entire escapade and debacle makes a great case for reparations, a clearer case than I think reparations has ever been argued for in political history thus far. And so you're not going to miss that up. You're not going to want to miss that episode with my good friend Rico Lamite. So check that out at youtube.com/Dan from the internet. Well, the full version will be in podcast form and for members, but we'll have some clips on youtube.com/Dan from the internet very shortly as well on that.